right, Chaz, welcome back. It's May 30th, 2025, and it is the 322nd recording of The Grit.
I was just looking at that coming through and thinking, is it really? And then went into the archives and saw, yes, in fact, this is 322.
Hard to imagine.
Man, all those years ago, all those 321 episodes ago, that we would still be here.
What in the world do we talk about for 90 minutes every week?
I mean, it's shocking. It is shocking, amazing stuff. But I'll tell you who helps, dear
Oh,
listeners.
oh my gosh. Couldn't do it without him. Could
Could
not do it
not.
without him. And I get the nicest feedback from people that they're just like, I love you guys. They'll sign off with I love you guys or something like that. And I'm like, wow, thanks, man.
Thanks. Literally. I mean, you sent a couple over for No Barat today, and it just warmed the cockles.
It really does, right?
Yeah, it's like it feels like yeah, all of these people. I mean, everybody talks about community, and we all have our own communities, I think, in air quotes, right? But it's kind of hard to keep up in any broad, for me at least, in a broader community. And I feel this does that. Like that we do have a community. I have friends now across the globe.
It's true. It's
Yep.
heartwarming.
Yep. Real tear jerking.
Yep. Well, Chaz, I'm lying in bed. It's a quiet Thursday night and I'm listening to the grit. In the background, I hear faint sounds of rain droplets creating a dense pitter patter on a large pile of cardboard that I have chosen to deposit in a pile in the corner of my courtyard. Will Chaz's advice pay off? Only time will tell. W. Josh from Perth.
Thank you, Josh. And don't forget the essential part of this. This is a two-part process and two-part multiple time. It is let it soak, let it dry, let it soak, let it dry.
Mm.
Eventually, just becomes dust.
Well, you dispensed that advice probably over a year ago now, and it's been proven to work. The internet has gotten involved. There's now people DMing me, you know, random influencers giving a life hack on Instagram, and they're watering the cardboard down with a
Yeah,
hose.
yeah. That's a waste, though. I'm telling you, like, don't waste this Earth's natural resources. Let the Earth take care of the Earth, right?
Mhm.
Your job is to leave those boxes outside. You don't do anything but that. And exactly like was it Josh in Perth?
Mhm.
Exactly like Josh is doing. Just listen. Just listen to nature take care of itself.
The pitter patter.
Exactly.
I wasted so much time and energy, often sweating under the
Breaking down
sun,
boxes.
often risking life and limb with a box cutter that I easily could have sliced into my ankle, my foot with. Crazy.
Paper cuts too, like
Yeah.
a cardboard box paper cut is not as bad as a like thin slice paper cut, but it still hurts.
Mm, it's worse. I've gotten some cardboard box paper cuts where I guess like it's not thick. It's the edge of the
Yeah.
cardboard,
Oh
just so it's as
man.
thin as paper, but it's hard. And it is, oh my gosh, one of the worst feelings in the world.
I can do nails on a chalkboard. I can do a lot of the icks, but even the thought of a paper cut makes me contort my face.
It really puckers you up, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's that quintessential advice that we're known for giving right back at you. And then additionally, Patreon, come over. You're missing great shows if you're not on
Mm.
Patreon, I gotta say. All unfiltered shows.
The bonus content is good because where the bonus content comes from is after David Lee and I talk for 90 minutes, then we talk for another. And so just imagine we've already dredged so far down. Then comes the gold. Then comes those little nuggets.
Well, that and topics that maybe aren't appropriate for mainstream airwaves can go over on Patreon, and we don't run the risk of being canceled by the public.
Do you reckon, the rating of Patreon?
NC-17. Maybe we need to turn it up a notch. You guys
I
want
think
some
I think we do.
also bonus show or not bonus shows, live shows. So last week I was fantasizing that Cam Richards might just win the air show, the Stab High air show in Japan, because he's going to join us on stage in about 3 weeks in Charleston. I was like, dude, if his stock skyrockets before then. We bought him early. We're going to ride the wave. And turns out he didn't win, but he finished second. And everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people were arguing that his air should have won.
Made a statement. Guess what I did? Even, I mean, let's not get away from the live show. Come and see Cam Richards in Charleston, South Carolina on what day?
Thursday, June 12th. And
It's
then
right around the corner here. It's
it
less than
is.
2 weeks away.
And then the night before, Wednesday, June 11th in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, with Justin Quintal joining us on stage. And by the way, I got tons of merch to give away. I'm going to show you some stuff real quick.
I want to see some merch.
Our buddies, Real Water Sports in North Carolina, sent us a bunch of slow tide towels
Epic.
that we're going to have to give out at both shows. And your good buddies, NVS Fins, is sending us fins that we have to give away.
Let me
Um,
t- the cost of ticket here. I mean, is Charleston have is that a
Real Water Sports
oh
hats,
sick. Those are sick hats. Uh does
Charleston
Charleston
ticket price.
is Charleston have the board giveaway as well, right?
Yeah.
Charleston,
Yeah.
we are giving away a Channel Islands board. Basically, between all the giveaways, is there Vayer watches going out too?
Yeah. Yeah. Fair watches.
I mean, so between all the giveaways, you're losing money by not going.
That's a great, you can't afford not to go.
You literally cannot afford not to go.
You can buy the ticket, send somebody in your proxy just to collect the potential
The
winning.
booty. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
guaranteed, I'd say, almost guaranteed, virtually guaranteed, more than $25 worth of swag.
Yeah, so come on out. $25 tickets. It'll be an awesome night. We've got obviously pro surfers joining us on stage. We're going to be reviewing footage, discussing trips, discussing the board designs for that footage, all that kind of stuff, and just having a really good time. Um, Stab High didn't watch, but I heard Cam's dad was in the booth and it was epic.
Guess what I did yesterday in preparation, kind of, for today?
Watched Stab High recap.
I watched like the YouTube version of it because I was thinking, okay, do they really got something going on, or is this all just bells and whistles? Is this smoke and mirrors, but no substance to the thing? And it seemed pretty fun.
You did more than I did. I didn't watch
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I don't know where it made me think. I don't know where the air show lives in surfing forever, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I didn't watch obviously the whole thing. I watched the highlight clips, and it's cool. And single tricks are cool. Uh, yeah, I don't know if the air show is gonna. I mean, I guess the air show has been around for what, 20 years now, 30 years. Yeah.
But fledgling. Like
Yeah.
you get a version of it and
They'll
then it
come, they'll
goes
come
away for 5
around.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's back, which I wondered. I'm just curious. Like, no, I'm not being negative. I would be curious from the listeners what they think about it, right? If they think, yes, this format, I can really get behind this. This is more entertaining to me than, contest surfing, for example, or than heats.
So there's elements that are more like I think it's not more the wave pool is always the problem. So we watched Stab High ran for 2 days over the course of the weekend, and then the following day, Griffin Colapinto went and stomped an air that blew away all the ones that we saw in the wave pool, and he did it at Margaret River.
But I mean, I don't know that Griffin's air was necessarily better, to be frank. I mean,
I,
in terms of, I saw like, who was it that Albie Lair, I think, did a full on tail grab, right? Like I've never seen a tail grab done and landed on a surfboard, which again, I don't know, is this novelty gimmick or is this actually interesting and progressing surfing?
I think it is. Yeah, they're learning how to do that stuff in the wave pool and refining it so that then they can apply that grab in the ocean ultimately. I don't think the end game is to do it in wave pools.
Watching it, I mean, and again, I would like listener feedback here because for my money, and we've discussed this, barrel overturn and barrel clearly over air, right? And I was thinking my favorite kind of novelty contests, if they can be considered novelties, are, like the barrel shootouts, basically, like where the only thing we're scoring is the tube, like go drop late, get deep. I like that better
Totally.
than anything.
I mean, imagine a turn contest.
I know. Just
Yeah,
throw your biggest turn.
Like
I mean,
get one of those wave pools to just have like a big meaty
turn session
yeah,
section.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how sick would that be?
Just a, yeah. I mean, it would be sick. I actually, I was thinking I was mocking it internally, but now I think that's totally sick.
It could be really, really sick
Like
if you could
getting
figure out
back
the
to
right section.
getting back to kind of Dane Reynolds-esque turns where there's so much power and torque in the turn. I mean, you could probably measure it at some, you could probably put like a data reading thing on the surfboard to see how much speed coming in and how much pressure going out.
Water displacement.
Yep.
Well, I think that Griffin's wave air was crazier and more exciting and thrilling for me just to witness. The stuff in the wave pool was all technically really, really impressive. It's just that the section isn't big enough. I
Yeah.
don't think you could ever design a wave pool that generates as much power as the open ocean can.
I
And so
mean,
you're just going to have bigger sections that project people higher and farther.
and if you did, right, let's assume that tech keeps moving on and they do get a section that can is basically a trampoline. What makes Griffin's air impressive is he didn't that section at Margaret River is not pre-programmed. He is
Exactly.
surfing the wave, and then all of a sudden he sees a section or a ramp that gives him this opportunity, right? And he was did you see him on Fox and Friends discussing it?
No,
Yeah, he went on Fox and Friends, the Fox's, I think, morning program, maybe Fox
who
News'
knows?
morning show program. Yeah, but he was like beamed in from maybe he was still in Australia, maybe he was San Clemente, wherever he was. The host was just like, "Wow, that looks scary," and Griffin says, "Yeah, it's Griffin in his." Classic homeschool Southern California drawl. Yeah, it's so scary. But copped to it being scary, right? And you don't think of big airs, or I don't think of, I don't do them. So I don't consider them one way or the other. I don't consider them scary necessarily, right? Especially like his landing was real nice, right? He like
Yeah, it's incredible.
boosted and like smooth right into the, like on the end of the whitewash there. But when you think about it, and he said, yeah, like anytime I put a singlet on, basically, I'm willing to break my legs for the score. And I was thinking, that's probably not overstated right there. That was a
No,
huge boost, and you're going for the landing. It's not a throwaway.
I honestly, I don't do airs either. But I've been scared my entire life when I'm approaching an end section. From when I first learned how to surf and like got to the level of pumping down the line, and then there's an end section coming at you, hit- getting a lot of speed, having that right in front of you, my instinct is always don't do it.
Yeah.
Like kick out, back down. And then you see other people are looking at you, or you just know that somebody's witnessing you, and you're like, well, I can't chicken out. I have to try to
Yeah.
do something. How
Yeah.
about a floater? Let me just do a floater instead, you know? But it's freaking frightening to be
Yeah.
going full speed at a section.
Yeah. No. And I mean, that high. And of course, I mean, anything can go. Look at Italo Ferreira's. Where was his air where he landed on his board?
Oh, I forget.
That was recent. That was a couple contests
Yeah.
ago, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like anything can go wrong in the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so kudos to Stab because honestly, what everything that I've said doesn't negate what they're doing or the success even of what they're doing. There still is relevance in having like the world's best. They got a who's who of the world's best to
Totally.
show up in Japan, have this amazing party. It looked like they had an absolute blast. I didn't watch it just because I had other things going on at the time that they were running it, and then I've been busy since. So I haven't gone back and watched it, but I did watch all the clips on Instagram as they came out because I did want to see who won and like how much things have progressed. And it's progressed so much that my brain can't even process it. They do a rotation and they're grabbing. I don't even know what grab it is until they slow it down. And then I realized they were grabbing the tail while they were spinning. So it's all really, really impressive. I don't even know which one's harder to do. So I would never be able to judge an event like that. But it still, to me, doesn't rise to the level of excitement as what I watched Griff do. That's all.
I suppose that's what I'm curious about because Stab, it feels like they have now dialed in the Stab High to perfection. This is the best version. There can be, they can go different places, different pools, different whatever. But this was the best version of this that you could possibly have, right? The
Yeah.
mix of surfers in the event. From Nathan Fletcher, whatever, like kind of
Julian
Duma.
Wilson made the final.
Yeah, exactly. But Duma in the booth, like it's a real. And so if this doesn't work, like I just wonder how successful it is, right? If this is like barely getting by at the best version, then I would think, oh, people just don't care enough about air shows for them to be a going concern. Or it could be they could see hockey stick growth, one stab high to the next. And this one, the most watched, most, whatever, shared online, social media, blah, 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 ever before, right?
Well, look, you said if it's barely getting by, that's more successful than a WSL event because
Yeah,
the WSL events are losing money.
that's true. That's true. I mean, I suppose I'm just curious in terms of engagement because I think the WSL still has, it's just that they're throwing, I think, so much money at each one of those contests where the engagement on the WSL ain't that bad, right? Like the amount of views they have per clip video, blah, 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 is generally okay. I don't know if it's like, I guess comparatively, I don't know if it's crushing or what. I should go look at more sport videos and report back is what I should do. Should
Yeah.
stop running my mouth about what I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyways, good on Stab. Congratulations. Good on Griffin Colapinto. As it relates to the Margaret River contest, Jordy Smith won his second event of the season. He did that over the aforementioned Griffin Colapinto. Jordy's been on tour for 18 years, which is longer than Griffin's girlfriend has been alive, and you did not take the bait to write the story about it.
I was waiting for this right here because now I can. This will be the headline for the podcast post.
I mean, it writes itself. It's
It's
incredible
it's okay, so like I've seen more memes now, right? Like
about
there's
that. Oh,
about just
about Griff. Yeah.
about Griff, right? Like I
Yeah, yeah.
saw one, I don't know, Griff taking his girlfriend surfing, and it was like a dad with a little baby hanging on like where I think they're funny and they don't feel the ones I've seen, and maybe there's some mean-spirited ones out there. They don't seem mean-spirited. How do you think Griffin and the Colapinto camp is taking this? Do they feel like is this gonna, make them raise their hackles and get their guards up and be like, turn into kind of a Felipe Toledo, right? Everybody's
For
picking on
sure.
me. Do you think so?
For sure.
You think you think Colapinto's camp is not laughing along?
How do you not laugh at that dad with the kid on his back? So like the Colapinto camp won't laugh in front of Griff at all, but
Yeah.
secretively they smiled at that one.
I mean, I would think on this thing, like again, you've just got to be able to laugh along. I would like, yep, I'm dating a high school girl. It's true, right? Like, I don't know how you don't laugh along if you're Griffin or those close to Griffin.
Yeah, I think for obvious reasons. It's a the implication is that you are a pedophile.
I'm not, and again, I haven't seen every meme. I'm not necessarily getting that vibe. I'm getting the
It's just the implication. You're right. The
yeah,
meme doesn't have that vibe, but that is the implication
that's
of
the
all of the
subtext.
jokes.
The
Yes,
subtext is
yes.
you are dating a high school girl. Yeah, I mean, but
The
it's
truth is you're dating a high school girl. The subtext is that means pedophilia.
yeah. Does it though? Is that the subtext?
That's the subtext is you're an adult and this is a child.
Yeah, okay, okay. Uh,
That and so we've discussed the kind of technical difference is,
high
she's
school.
18. Yeah, but just high school and adult means something.
Do you think that okay,
Suggests
so
something, I should say.
so Griffin Colapinto is catching more attention for than he ever has in his life for personal life, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think Griffin has been obviously in the surf spotlight for years now.
Yeah.
Uh, but based upon either talent or, when he dropped a dropped anchor at the where was that? Which contest?
Talked about pooping.
Yeah, out in the lineup.
Might have been in, I think it might have been
Whatever.
an Australian event.
Wherever it was. Yeah, but that I remember that got, didn't go surf viral, but was, but all of this stuff was Griffin's own making.
Yeah.
And now, do you think that Griffin Colapinto is thinking, man, this spotlight, I didn't know that it got this hot. I don't want it. is his relationship with his high school girlfriend going to be able to withstand the heat and pressure?
Um, no. Well, I didn't have like I wasn't betting on this to turn into marriage anyway. So this won't help it, and I maybe it'll hinder it, but I don't think
the
it goes the long run.
the crazy thing about this, it feels like all things, they take time to bake, right? Like not everybody gets the joke or the thing right away, but more and more people, I feels to me, are becoming engaged in this storyline as the tour heads into Lower Trestle's, Griffin's home break, and also hometown, presumably, of his high school girlfriend.
Yep.
So yeah.
I think yeah, there's more stories to be written in the coming weeks. But I
Do you think
don't know
she
that any will trump the fact that Jordy Smith has been on tour for 18 years and he beat Griffin Colapinto, whose girlfriend wasn't alive when Jordy got on tour.
it's amazing.
That is the ultimate headline.
It's really good.
Yeah. So take from that what you will. Paddling back out. I've got a listener call. Do you want to move on from that?
Heck
I got a
yeah,
listener
heck yeah.
call. Okay. Actually, just to kind of tee up some, go ahead.
I mean, my last question is, do you think Griffin Colapinto's girlfriend and high school buddies show up at Lowers?
Yes,
Summer
absolutely.
vacation, summer vacation just started, right? She doesn't
Yeah.
have to go to school now. Uh, and so is she going to be down on the cobbled stone? Will she try to go incognito, or will she be loud, proud, wearing the Go Griff, I'm his number one fan because I'm his high school girlfriend t-shirt? What's going to
La Loud and proud.
loud and proud out
Totally.
there?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's the way to do it, I suppose.
I
Like
think so.
Griffin should be laughing at the memes and she should be
Yeah,
loud and proud.
totally. That is the way to do it. And they're also, I don't know, young enough and isolated enough, insular, kind of in that little community to where they're going to do what they want to do no matter what.
Do you think they look and are mirroring how to take the whatever public scrutiny from Bill Belichick and Lisa or Laura, or whatever her name is, Hudson?
I
Are they
think
thinking?
he's taking cues from Andrew Tate. Probably Belichick too. Who knows? I don't know. So real quickly, I got an email that just came through while we were talking from AG1 announcing it's now available at Costco.
Wow. I mean, talk about great things all together.
Wow. Well, I mean, I love Costco.
I mean, and getting the truth with AG1 is you need it in bulk. You like you need bulk AG1. One
Yeah.
like little packet doesn't count. You can't go do AG1 off and on. Once you get on the AG1 program, you are wanting to be on that program. Guess who I just got on the AG1 program?
Who?
The wife. The
Oh,
wife
good.
took years, but like she used to like this one called Greens First, a competitor.
Don't know it.
Yeah, Greens First, just another green powder drink thing. I was like, I don't know, you're missing out for years and years. Finally, she came over, hasn't turned back. It's just like, this is a superior product.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this email is from the CEO at AG1. I don't know what that's going to mean for you and I, but look, if you want to save or if you want to get a year free of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs, you got to go through our link, which is drinkag1.com/surf. Um, that's what I'm drinking right now, by the way. I do it every morning just with water, but I've been making smoothies lately, and so I get an extra boost in the
What do you
smoothie.
what do you use as your smoothie base?
Coconut water.
You don't use ice cream.
No, that's a milkshake. I mean, I love ice cream. I'm not against ice cream, but the point of my smoothie is to get like a bunch of nutrition, not
uh,
not to have like a delicious snack.
you don't use yogurt?
No, I mean, maybe I have in the past, but I generally don't eat yogurt at this phase of my life. I don't know why. I like it.
Um, the where are you? We've never had an in-depth discussion about acai on this show.
No, we haven't.
I hate acai. I hate everything about it. Uh, Not really. I just don't understand how I don't like it personally. I don't hate
You
it,
don't,
but
do you like the flavor?
it's fine.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like if I'm gonna eat acai, I'd way rather have ice cream, gelato or anything, right? And I don't know how the acai industry hoodwinked everybody into thinking this is healthier. I look at those people eating acai bowls for lunch, for example.
Yeah.
It's like sugar on top of sugar on top of sugar, 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 topped with more sugar and fruit. Like there's got to be more sugar in that thing than in a 2 liter bottle of soda.
Yeah. When you said, how do I feel about acai? I didn't know you meant like the blended version that's in a bowl. I
Yeah.
just thought you meant the fruit itself.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the
I
frozen version.
Yeah, no, I don't really eat that ever.
Like
I mean, if
I
I'm somewhere, like I've been at that Lowers event and they have it there and it's like, oh, that's a nice treat in the afternoon. But in general, I mean, I've bought it and then put it into smoothies to
why?
replace the blueberry component because it's healthy. It's
Are
a
you sure?
superfood.
You
The
sure?
berries, well, the berries itself, if you just buy like the frozen berries from Costco, throw it into your smoothie, it has sugar, but it also has fiber and everything else. It's antioxidant.
You're telling
Super.
me, you're telling me the jury is in on acai, that the acai berry is in fact, that it's not just a giant, awesome, but giant scam.
I'm no dietitian, but I think the jury is in on the powers of dark fruits.
Is that
So,
true?
yeah, I think so. Like blackberries, blueberries, they are packed with antioxidants and other things that are good for you. I think what you're talking about, if I can help make your point for you, is taking that and blending it into a smoothie and then telling everybody that that thing is healthy.
Yeah, that like I just don't get it, right? I don't get how somebody can eat a and because I think
Like
when
the
people eat their acai bowls for lunch or breakfast or whatever, they think I'm doing a better thing than eating what I would have otherwise, right? And I think in almost no way is that better than the alternative in terms of like straight sugar intake.
I no, I agree with you. It's not a meal replacement. Like I think it's also a volume conversation. If I'm throwing, let's say, 10 acai berries into my smoothie with the banana and the coconut water and all that sort of stuff, that's just a serving of fruit. I feel like the bowl that you're talking about, it's a meal replacement. First of all, they're using it as a meal replacement, but that's 10x the amount of everything in that bowl.
Well, I would really love an acai sponsor for the podcast to teach me the error of my ways because there's no way I'm touching the stuff unless forced to by a sponsor.
Um, I also feel the same way with ice cream. Anytime I try to buy an ice cream like out in the real world rather than get my own portion out of the freezer, is it's just too much.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that bowl of acai, if you just gave me half of a cup, that's enough. And same thing with ice cream. It's like one scoop is plenty, you know?
Man, I'm a straight up kid sizer at
Yeah,
any time I'm
exactly.
out for ice cream.
Exactly. But you see people getting like the extra
Double.
large one, and it's
Yeah.
like it's crazy town.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the show.
Sorry.
drinkag1.com/surf, by the way, if you want optimal nutrition, foundational nutrition, optimal health. We got a call from a listener that I cannot believe has never been addressed before. So I'm going to play that for you right now. And then to tee up the next segment, we've got a tools to live by from a trans listener asking for love life advice. So stick
Great.
around for that. Also new territory for us.
Hey, this is for the grit. I got a surf dilemma. So I'm surfing OK waves for about an hour and a half and tell myself, all right, one more. And then so wave comes to me and it's a late session miracle. Wedges up perfect, much better than anything else that's come through. Maybe a foot bigger than anything else I've gotten. Get the wave, surf it to the best of my ability, bang out a couple turns, kick out. Well, now I've got a problem. I'm stoked again. So I've got a decision to make. Do I end it on a high note? Or do I roll the dice, potentially paddle out and try and get another one before ending the session? What do you guys do in this situation? Work.
It's a classic dilemma.
Absolutely. And for me and my house, I always like to end on a good note anyway. And especially if you just had the wave of the day, of your day, chances are you're not going to, that was it, right? You know it. You might maybe get a better one, but you just had a great one and you've had a great surf. End it. Head on in. Don't ride the stoke. That stoke is a full-on mirage. It is ephemeral. It will vanish as soon as you go paddle back out in the lineup. You're going to start regretting what you're doing like a quarter of the way back into the lineup, right? You're going to think, yeah, you're going to start your paddle. Sick. Then you're going to be thinking, oh, I was tired. There was a reason that my session was over, right? Then you go
Yeah.
sit on your board and you're thinking, dang it. Now I got to wait for like chances are at that point, you're going to come in at, you're going to get a wave in. It might be a straight hander that you're just purely catching to ride to the beach.
So I think this is now apply this advice to all of life.
Yes.
End on a high note.
Be done. Be enough is enough. And again, you could get, in theory, a wave that is better than the one you just had, right? Probably not, but you could do that. But is that going to make you feel X times better than the wave that you just had, right? If you get
No.
a little, are you going to be like, well, man, that last wave was sick. The one I just caught that I paddled back out for, it's the best feeling of my entire life. No, it's going to be marginally better and or the same than the feeling that you have at that moment. So end on that feeling.
And by the way, the feeling you have at that moment was, I still want to paddle back out. So you go out
Yeah,
there and you get a slightly incrementally better one and then need to paddle back out again. You got to stop at some point. And so ending on a high note is my life advice to you. This is why restaurants end a meal with a dessert. It's like that's the taste you want in your mouth. That's the way you want to leave in every interaction. So knowing when that moment is, I think, is key. There's one caveat here, which is maybe the waves are getting better. You paddled out when it was crappy and now it's turning on. Then maybe you stick around for a little bit, but you're still going to have a wave where you find yourself in this dilemma, which is I surfed it to the best of my ability. I do have a timeline. I've got to get to work, whatever it happens to be. Cut your losses. Actually, be grateful for what you got and then
sure.
go in. But ending on a high note is the baller move because the alternative is ending on a low note and then you're soured for the rest of the day.
And don't get in your mind, I feel also what you're missing out on, right? It's like going to the casino classic and you win 25 bucks. And you're just thinking about the 25 bucks you could have, doubled down or bet more and you didn't, right? Like the haunting of what you didn't do. Just be happy with what you have, what you did.
Completely. The other thing is um, that stoke that you're talking about that is motivating you to paddle back out is a phenomenal motivator to get crap done for the rest of the day. Like getting out of the water with that level of positivity and just ready
Pep in
to
the
attack
step.
it. Yeah,
Yep.
pep in the step, ready to attack it. Like go into your marriage with that. Go into your playing with your kid with that. Go to work with that. That's how you want to live.
It's really true that the high note and surf really will carry you through the day better than it's better through the day than back in the lineup, to be quite frank. Bottle that feeling up, take it to the land.
Let it propel you.
Yep.
And I would go a step further and because I've seen pros do this. One wave and done.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was like during the US Open or something in Huntington and I'm like and so whoever shows up early morning, they paddle out, get a set wave, bang the crap out of it and just go straight in. I'm like, "Whoa. What was that? That was insane.
Don't need more.
Baller move.
Yep. Don't need more.
Don't need any more." All right, great advice. Okay, Veyer watches. Got my Veyer shirt on today.
Got my Bayer watch on per the
Boom.
use.
Yeah, so get yours at veyerwatches.com/surf splendors to save 15% or come to our live show and just win one of multiples that we have to give away.
Be so
So,
great. Be a lot cooler if you did.
hello, David and Chaz. I hope all is well. The resident trans femme here. I have a tool to live by and a don't say gay for you guys to debate.
Great.
I would like to say this email came from Linc. I never knew if Linc was male or female or transitioned from male or female to what I had no idea. So identifying as residential trans femme here is helpful.
Helpful.
Yeah.
Totally. Especially, I mean, thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you for
Linc.
we try our best here, but
Yeah,
we need help.
exactly. Okay, tools to live by. And guys, I'm super stuck here. Okay, here's my background. I was divorced after 17 years of marriage. Unfortunately, I had not heard your advice about having a practice marriage at that point. It was a civil but emotionally very difficult end. It so happened that I ended up in a brief relationship with a woman from Brazil soon after the marriage ended. Kind of an unplanned rebound, I guess. It was brief because her child had been in my kindergarten class, and after he left the class, she, to my total shock, told me that she was interested in me. The catch was that her family's work visa was ending in a couple of months and she would have to go back to Brazil. We entered into the relationship knowing it would be a temporary by necessity. That was good for me as after my very difficult end to that was good for me after my very difficult end of the marriage. I was then and am still not interested in marriage again. That was 5 years ago, but we have maintained contact, staying in touch over WhatsApp. We message about once a week. I have happily not been in another relationship since she left, and I'm pretty sure that she hasn't either. So here's where the problem comes in. She now lives in Florianopolis, a few blocks from a break called Campeche, probably mispronouncing that. She wants me to come visit her and to surf. And that's my quandary for you is just simply, should I go? What would be the implications for the relationship? I'm not interested in anything that leads to marriage or the like for many reasons. So my specific questions here are, what types of relationship are acceptable for a 56-year-old that was already married for 17 years? B, is it worth going there to surf? Could I really go there and actually put in some significant surf sessions if it's fun? And then see, what is a Brazilian lineup like? I'm very careful anywhere I surf about making sure that I can manage the lineup as I mostly ride a longboard and on small waves. I do like her a great deal. So let me hear your thoughts, please. Linc then goes into a don't say gay, but we'll save that for a moment so we can debate this first part.
Okay. Tough advice here. The fact that you're got invited to Florianopolis, which I've never been down South Brazil, but looks beautiful, right? When the World Surf League rolls into town, looks fairly paradisical. Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
no, it
Uh,
looks amazing.
so looks amazing. Brazilians in the water are not amazing. That's just a fact, but I don't know how they are down there, right? Brazilians in the water are typically lousy, but
I think
uh,
it's a pretty aggressive lineup, but I would imagine you'd be able to find some spots to surf if,
for sure. I
yeah.
mean, it seems like that coast down there is just absolutely wave rich, and especially if you're riding a log, then so all to say, and then you have a love interest down there. All of this seems perfect. That's not asking, ostensibly not asking for anything more than come down to paradise, surf some fun waves that, come to a part of the world you've never been to, surf some gorgeous waves, warm water down here, and, let's have a sexy affair. And then you go home. Seems like all wins across the board. The fact that you're wondering about it seems like you shouldn't do it.
Ooh.
Yeah. The fact that
So
you
I think
asked a question about it.
so we pinpointed the same thing, I guess. The wondering about it, I think, is reflective of a fear of being hurt. So, and that's something that I'm genuinely saddened by because I do, in some of the other inquiries that we get from listeners or just conversations that I have with people, or maybe just things I see on reality TV and stuff, like I'm deeply saddened by people being trepidatious about pursuing love for fear of being
Being
hurt or
hurt.
rejected. Be and the reason is like you've lost the risk of not ever having it just through your own kind of being cautious is a greater risk than going out there and getting hurt. Like and I will say even more actually that you're guaranteed to get hurt. I hate to tell you, accept that right at the beginning. You are going to be rejected, even if you have a wonderful love affair with this person. That person will disappoint you tremendously throughout the love affair, and they'll hurt your feelings throughout the love affair. You're guaranteed to get hurt. Accept that right out of the gate and don't let that hold you back from enjoying all of the wonderment of passionate, mad love.
And especially in like on paradise tropical vacation time,
Yes.
right? I
Yes.
mean,
This is such a setup.
I mean, this seems perfect. This all seems perfect. So great advice there, David Lee. With if fear of rejection or trepidation of getting too involved or all of this is holding you back, you're too old for that anyway, man. Like bowl through that. Bowl right, put your head down and bash right through that like the Kool-Aid man himself.
So that is the ultimate crime is you got scorned once and now forevermore you will never trust again or invest again or any of that. That is how terrorists win. Like terrorists don't have to kill everybody in a population. They have to make one little action and then put the fear into the rest of the population to not act.
Yep.
So the terrorists win if you then never fly on a plane again because of 9/11, you know? So what you want to do is instead love boldly and intensely. And I I think the kind of key in all aspects of relationship is communication. So you have things that you feel very clearly about, Linc. You don't want to be married again. Communicate that. Communicate that to the Brazilian woman before you go and just say, "Hey, I think we're on the same page here. I like you a lot. I would love to come spend time with you. Here's my limitations." And if she accepts it, green light.
Here's a question I have for you about that. The person who goes in and says, I'm not interested in marriage, right? Out of the gate, who makes that a big deal. I would say, don't even bring that up. I would say, go boldly entirely. Don't put a hedge on it. Maybe go get a shotgun wedding in Brazil and see where that takes you. I mean, why not?
Well, that's up to Linc to decide what
Precisely.
they're
But
open.
exactly. But don't, I'm saying, even Linc saying, I don't want to be married again, right? Don't say that. Why? Like, who knows what's out there? Who knows what's going to happen?
Okay.
To all of a sudden say, this is the only thing I'm going to look at. I am not going to turn my head this way or this way for any possibility that happens to me, right? Be open to it all, I'll say.
Fair enough. I
Like,
will also say communication is key.
sure.
If you do feel a certain way, you're obligated to communicate that to the other person. And you would be surprised at what potential partners are okay with. Things that you think are deal breakers, they are it could be a perfect fit for that person for the time in their life that they're at right now. And having that level of communication allows a deeper connectivity. And so it's incumbent upon you just to state clearly what you're about, what you're interested in. Let them decide whether or not they're into it. If they say no, then dilemma's off. You don't have to worry about going to Brazil at this point.
Also, give them a chance to bend the will. Like, I remember
Sure.
when I first met the wife, uh,
You stated so romantically.
when I first met the wife, it was, I don't know, she, after day one, maybe, she said, uh, I might still be in love with somebody else or something, right?
Really?
Yeah. And I said, no, you're
Holy
not.
cow.
You're absolutely not. And told her she wasn't. And I was right. It was true. She wasn't. She was in love with me. She just didn't know it quite yet. But I just told her she wasn't, and it worked.
Um, that's fascinating. I don't want to get too deep into it, but that is fascinating to me.
Yeah. I mean, but if you feel strongly about something, I was like, you may think that, but you're wrong.
I
It's
my apprehension, what I will say is my apprehension there is that unrequited love is often a reason that you know, people cheat later in life or something like that. Like, oh, I never got enough of that one girlfriend. And so in the back of their head, they're always kind of like thinking about revisiting it. And so that's one thing that I'd be like, you got to sort that out before I get involved.
heck no. You just kick whoever it is to the curb. You kick that whole idea to the curb.
Well, it worked for you. So who am I to say? I'm working under theoretical assumptions here. Well, Linc, like I said, saddens me to think that anybody would be so trepidatious that they would maybe risk not experiencing what could be a great love of their life. So go all in, throw
Either
caution to the wind.
go all in or don't. Like if again, if this person is, they're like, yeah, they kind of think they're cool, and I'd really like to go surf, but then this person is gonna want to, you know, I don't know, to eat acai bowls with me all the time, and I don't want to be doing that, right? I don't want to hang out with this person very much. Then don't, right? Like then spend that money and go on a surf trip where Brazilians aren't.
You
It's
know,
hard. It's a hard one.
the other thing about communication here is understanding, like if Linc has an inclination that this woman's sole goal is to get married, and so that's a total misalignment, then you need to be realistic about that, you know? But if you feel like she's into you in the same way that you're into her, dude, don't chicken out. Go
I've
get it.
had it. Have
Yeah,
at it.
have at it. Um, while we're on the subject of trans, and I will get to barrel or not. Actually, let's get to barrel or not first. Or not barrel or not.
Yeah, I was gonna
Don't say
say,
gay. Sorry,
oof,
sorry.
really
Don't say gay.
hustling to the end of the show here.
No, no, no. From Linc, don't say gay. Quote, tranny. As in Albie Layer landed in the waves tranny. This might be more of a skateboard term, but I think I've heard it in a surf context as well. Now, let me say I do want you guys to explore this, but my conclusion is that it has to go. Living inland, I skate far more than I surf, so I hear people, or I hear this often as a transgender person, and I don't like it at all. Even when my friends say it, it's really become a derogatory word for transgender people. So even though the meaning and context is different in this day and age, I still don't like it. Note, in general, I don't have a problem with transgender people using the term tranny. There are other examples of this for other groups of people where it's okay for them to say something, but not for other people. Anyway, please explore, and I will not hold it against you where you land. P.S. I do appreciate how you guys have talked about the trans issue over the past couple of years. And then P.P.S. I totally disagree with where you guys landed on smear the queer. Even as a kid growing up in the 70s, it was understood that this was a playground term only. A coach would never use it. The problem doesn't lie with the term queer. That's a great and acceptable term now. The problem is in the smearing. I always hated the game and dreaded getting the ball. It wasn't until or it wasn't long until I was in high school and got to witness actual fag bashing, quote unquote. The alternate term when I was growing up was kill the guy with the ball. Anyways, keep up the barrel, get worked. All the best, Link.
See, and I suppose back to the smear the queer conversation, where I landed on it being okay was that I liked to be the queer.
Yeah,
But I could understand if you didn't want that ball to get smeared, then it would be a whole other kettle of fish.
you just didn't like being smeared. Had nothing to
Yeah,
do with the queer.
yeah.
So, anyways, back to using the word tranny for to refer to trans folk or to refer to a transition.
100% don't. If it is offensive to the transgender community, absolutely off, right? We're having a transgendered woman declaring this. This is offensive, right? I don't need to know more than that. As it relates to transition, the word transition, I beg to differ there because I don't, nobody in skating when they're at the skate park and says, oh, watch out for the tranny. Not one person is thinking, watch out for the transgendered person, right?
Start looking over their shoulders.
Yeah, they're thinking about the watch out for that transition on the landing, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
but
yeah, I think the intent, again, maybe I'm wrong. Somebody who skates transition, call in and say, yeah, when we giggle about, you know, landing in the tranny, uh, what we're actually, it's all the double entendre is funny to us.
I'm thinking, or I'd like you to help me think of a word that is a term that's become derogatory that is currently being used or has traditionally been used in another context. And now you're apprehensive to use it in that other context because it became derogatory over here. I mean, fag, when talking about a cigarette or a bundle of sticks, maybe
Sure.
it's a
There
little
you go.
outdated.
Yeah. But nobody would be confused if somebody like especially an English person came up outside a club and said, hey, can I bum a fag? Maybe the American would be, and then, but like nobody would think, oh, he's actually, I mean, I guess American might think, oh, he's asking for a homosexual
Can I bum a
man.
homosexual? Uh, I see, I don't skate, and so I don't ever feel a need to use the word tranny to refer to a transition. But to me, it seems transition is just as easy or difficult to say as tranny. It's almost the same amount of syllables. Like I don't really feel a need to shorten transition.
Well, here we go. I guess on principle, here's where I'm going to land on this thing. Here's where I'm going to land in the training. Uh, I'm going to say it's okay for Australians and those who their whole thing is to shorten words to IE, uh, brekkie, tranny, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Americans, it's not really our deal to shorten every word to its smallest IE component. So I guess we could just leave it off and call it the transition again.
Yeah, I don't feel a need to call it the tranny. And
Yeah.
and when I do, hear that term in a skate or surf context, it does conjure up the derogatory version of the word. I
Okay.
do envision transsexuals when I hear that.
Well, I would like then a skateboarder to call in, but until then, I'm gonna still okay it for Australia and New Zealand and other places where they constantly go everything to the IE.
I would be shocked if anybody defended tranny that hard. Even skaters.
Like
I don't know
say,
that I don't know that they really like would die on that hill. Like, yeah, I want to use the word tranny.
I mean, because I think it's not necessarily skater slang, right? It's not like something I could see if it was, let's say, like, I don't know, if the judo air, for example, all of a sudden became offensive because, judo is a Japanese thing and we're like making fun of Japanese people when we do this. So we can't, I could see how people would want to defend that, being like, no, this is the history of the judo air. It's been called judo air for X amount of
Yeah.
years. And I could understand that fight. Uh, yeah, I would agree with you. Tranny would have no defenders. Nobody'd say, but wait a second, we've called this transition the tranny since back in 73 when old Derek Schmidt, blah, 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 blah. Like
I
there's,
and
yeah,
I'm dead set on saving one syllable.
yeah, yep. Okay, good. Goodbye, tranny.
I'm okay getting rid of it. And I also don't like the derogatory term. Like there's other derogatory terms that I'm kind of like, it's not that offensive, or
Yeah.
just, but tranny does sound somehow.
Tranny
uh,
sounds dismissive out of the
It
mouth.
does. It sounds
Like
dismissive out of the mouth. That's what it is.
it's like it is minimizing somebody, infantilizing even a bit, right? It
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
out of the gate. And I can fully understand one tranny to another, how you're not diminishing then, but from non-tranny to tranny, it sounds dismissive.
Yeah, agreed. Uh, so I was going to reference earlier the article that Derek wrote about Sasha Jane Lowerson's OnlyFans account.
Yes.
Um, you go to Beach Grit if you want to read that article, but did he actually sign up for her OnlyFans? Did he pay money to access the account?
Who knows with that Derek Riley?
I think he did.
Really?
Well, I don't know if you guys had a conversation
No, we didn't.
about it.
And
Okay.
we didn't have a conversation. I with Derek Riley, I have absolutely zero idea. It is 50-50 odds either way there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that I would judge one way or the other. I'm just curious if he
If
did.
he engaged.
Well, because I see it and I'm curious to track Sasha Jane's career
Hmm.
and evolution as a human
But
being.
but this seems it, right? Kind of.
No, it's not over.
You don't think so? I
No,
think I think once you go OnlyFans and really like specific OnlyFans, right? She's not like I'm an OnlyFans person, like, whoever who's the
dude,
Maui surfer on
the
OnlyFans.
mountains. Oh, Billy Kemper.
Yeah, I'm like
Uh,
me and Billy Kemper. We're on OnlyFans, right? Billy Kemper gives you tips on how to pop up and works out, and I surf, and maybe you're kind of, it's provocative, but she went like straight up, kink hard, whatever, toy sex time. Like once you go there, I think there's more doors that will continue to open for you there that you clearly are feeling fine walking through.
Agreed. Yeah, but I'm saying the story arc isn't over for Sasha Jane. This isn't like an end point. I could see her having a born again Christian phase. I
Oh,
could
I guess so.
see, yeah, she's not stopping here. She's got lots
Yeah.
going on.
You think the nine lives of Sasha Jane. What I
Exactly.
will say about Sasha Jane, that is beyond doubt at this point, the one definitive, Sasha Jane loves attention.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt. Yes,
Yeah.
that is
And so
confirmed.
what does somebody who loves attention and like loves attention, not
Yeah.
loves attention, like attention, where does that person go?
OnlyFans
They go to
and
OnlyFans.
Instagram.
And I could see how Sasha Jane could end up at like on a Australian Big Brother kind of situation, right? Like a reality show where you're the wild card and da 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 da, da, and then you have a life as a somewhere straddling porn actress and influencer.
I think she's dreaming that she can build her social profile large enough to get that type of an offer.
How do you frustrate when porn stars are regular, like every porn actor is always called a porn star? I don't think we do this in
We don't.
Hollywood. It's not like, oh yeah, the every actor, if you act, you're a star. But I feel that how we refer to people who appear in pornography, they're all of them are porn stars. If everyone's a porn star, then no one's actually a star, right? The porn industry should do a lot better job of elevating the stars and letting those porn actors or actresses who are serviceable but kind of background, that's what they in fact are. You are not a star. You are a supporting actress.
There's no distinguishment for a Ron Jeremy or a Jenna Jameson. They are also porn stars. They're not porn superstars.
No, everyone's a porn star.
They're just the same title as somebody who just entered the business last week.
Everyone is a porn star.
Yeah, interesting.
Yep. It's a
Interesting.
bummer.
In the high school yearbook, how they'll do like
Most likely to.
not that. They do that too, but no, this is like best film of the year, and then everybody
Oh yeah.
votes and it gets documented for history in your high school yearbook. They're like the top 5 actors, and it was like Brad Pitt, Kevin Spacey, Ron Jeremy was number 3,
Boom.
and number 4, yeah, and the rest were all Hollywood actors, but like our student body, or enough of us in our student body, like wanted to slide that in just to see if it would go into print. Sure enough, Ron Jeremy was number
Worked.
3 on our list.
Uh, well, is Ron Jeremy still alive, or is Ron Jeremy?
Mhm.
Did he? But he's in jail. He's disgraced and in prison.
No, dude, I think he still works.
No, Ron Jeremy got like tossed in the clink.
For what?
I think rape and stuff.
What?
Yeah,
Why would he have? Why would he rape somebody?
I'd Google Ron Jeremy.
Is
'Cause-
Ron Jeremy in prison? In prison. No, Ron Jeremy is not currently in prison. Ron Jeremy was facing numerous charges of sexual assault and rape, but he was deemed incompetent to stand trial due to incurable neurocognitive decline.
Yeah, so Ron Jeremy's a vegetable now.
What?
Yeah, he was gonna go to jail, but
So he's in private residence.
the only reason he didn't go to jail is because he's a veggie.
Who did he rape?
A lot of people, apparently. There was multiple counts.
21 alleged victims.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
You didn't follow the rise and mostly fall of Ron Jeremy?
Oh, we didn't have Noble Rot back then for you to clue me in on what's going on in the world. Several alleged victims attended a hearing, and he should never be free, ever. One alleged victim told reporters outside, he should never be free. He's a predator, he's a monster, and he's taking no accountability. What's hilarious here is that I'm somehow flabbergasted that Ron Jeremy would be
Is
a
a bad
sex
guy.
criminal
That Ron Jeremy is not the upstanding
of all people.
Because
I
Ron
mean, he
Jeremy
looks like he is.
Yeah, Ron Jeremy though had a run there where he became a celebrity in and of itself. Like he was on, I feel like
Yeah.
whatever, reality shows and game shows and interviewed. Like Ron Jeremy became, I feel, the cuddly, acceptable porn person that could go like out and for a while there, it felt like, oh yeah, Ron Jeremy, introduce Ron Jeremy to your mom, right? She'll laugh. Oh, Ron Jeremy, I know what you do. But
Yeah.
it was all like full on. He scrubbed his image, and then lo and behold, oops. I guess that's why it was maybe scrubbing his image to get access to more and more and more victims.
Wow.
Yep.
My mind is blown.
Bad news.
Well, in an ongoing segment of adults falling down here on the Grit, we have a sad story about a professional surfer who fell down in a bad way. Longtime friend of Cocoa Beach resident Todd Holland, a respected professional surfer and friendly face behind School of Surf, experienced a serious accident recently while working on a tree on his property. Todd fell nearly 2 stories from a ladder, resulting in significant injuries. Todd sustained a broken neck, broken back, multiple broken ribs, fractured hip, broken left arm, and dislocated left elbow. He has already undergone several surgeries and is currently recovering in ICU, dealing with considerable pain. He said, quote, "I have an open book pelvic fracture, broken ribs, sternum, neck, back, and severely dislocated elbow. I've already been through 4 surgeries since my arrival, having another one on Tuesday to help relocate my elbow that keeps popping out of place regardless of surgeries. No movement in my left hand. And after my last back surgery, I have a bit of weakness in my leg, so I'm hoping to get out of the hospital next weekend.
That is a horror fall, an absolute horror fall.
I've never heard of that much damage happening from a ladder fall.
I mean, it seems like with a ladder fall, it's either, a broken arm, something, or you're dead. It seems
Yeah,
like Todd Holland landed just a couple clicks this side of death.
I don't like getting on ladders. As a 43-year-old, I've gotten onto ladders in recent years and it's disorienting. I get up to the
It,
top and I'm like, why am I like a little bit dizzy up here? Which I never felt for the first 30 years of my life. I could climb up ladders, stand on the top rung with impunity, survey the world from up there. There was no issue with me falling. Now it's disorienting.
like climbing tall ladders too, like, ones that go to water towers or whatever. Like as a kid, I was like, no
Yeah,
problem. And wondering how anyone could be scared. You have a rung and a rung, and you're not going to let go and fall. Like, so you just keep going. Like,
yeah.
but now the thought of climbing like one of those, a high ladder to a high place, like, nope,
Not interested.
that day has passed for me, which is weird. It's weird that you would think that age would bring more, like, I know my body today better than I've ever known my body in my entire life. I know what it's capable of. Right? And I'll know it even better tomorrow. You would think that as you got older, climbing ladders and stuff would be easier. You'd be like, yep, I'm all here I go.
It's something to do with like your eyesight gets worse when you get older. I think maybe where your ear, nose, throat, where your equilibrium is, like maybe
Yep.
that stuff deteriorates a little bit, so your sense of balance goes with it.
I mean, massive kudos as we're sitting talking about this to Kaipo Guerrero, who regularly climbs the Bailey Ladder leaderboard uh, to like swap out names and whatnot. He's up high on that ladder.
This is where the WSL maybe identified their demographic was older and older dudes, and they're like, they need a safe ladder.
Yep. I mean, isn't
Ladders of the youth that don't have all this caution built into them won't do for our 45-year-old audience. They need
I
a
feel
Bailey's,
I feel that isn't Kaipo like literally roped in to the ladder
like
when he climbs
tethered
it?
to it.
I think he's tethered to something. I don't think he's freestyling up there. I think he is, maybe that's Bailey ladder. That's their whole genius. And you got all these WSL old men watching it thinking, yeah, I my gutters need cleaning. I haven't cleaned them because I'm not about to get that ladder out of the garage. But this thing that I can tether onto, that I can like drill down into the ground or whatever special with Bailey ladders, that's a ladder for me.
Dude, my gutters do need cleaning.
Yeah.
And I've been, for weeks, I've been debating getting up and doing it. Other chores have taken precedent or priority. But after my fall on the scooter, I was like, when I do this, I'm wearing tennis shoes.
Yeah.
The idea of me going up there with sandals just feels like one variable
Sketchy.
too much at this
Oh
point.
man, the horror. I can't imagine. I mean, I can't imagine because we've all been there. We've all taken a bad tumble that led to injury, or hopefully all of us have, right? You're not living. You're not living unless you're tumbling every once in a while. But that thought in your head at the moment that it's going down, like picture Todd Holland way up, 2 stories high, ladder starts shaking. All of a sudden, he knows this is Dunsky's. This is it. That one moment when there's nothing I can do.
That is so scary, especially
Yep.
from 2 stories up. And I see a lot of ladder falls on Instagram, and often it'll be the person is holding the ladder at the bottom, as you're supposed to do. They are doing their job so half-assed. Like they're looking at their phone, they have like a foot pressed up against, and then the ladder slides out, and they're like, "Oh no, what do I do?" And they're not actually holding it in position. I'm like, you guys, that is a super serious job. You need to take it seriously.
The no distraction zone.
Exactly. Well, Todd Holland, epic surfer, and in the Beach Grit story that was written on this, our longtime listener Keith Grace got in the mix and shared. I think somebody else shared two wipeout stories of Todd Holland. The funny thing about Beach Grit comments is rather than showering Todd with praise about his illustrious career, people chime in with other instances where he fell.
Yeah.
They're
The
like,
Beach Grit way.
Todd, in addition to falling off a ladder, he also has two of the most memorable wipeouts. There was one in Huntington Beach when the waves were pumping during a contest against Tom Curran, and then there was one at Pipeline where he gets sucked over the falls. And so then Keith chimed in and gave YouTube links to the footage. The man had some serious wipeouts, let me tell you.
Yeah. I mean, man, not afraid, I guess. So
Not
maybe
afraid.
good for Todd. Maybe Todd is the kind of guy who's going to be able to recover from his broken back and hip and dislocated elbow and all of it and just come back not even any worse for wear.
I would like to think so. There is a GoFundMe set up. I'll post it in today's show notes too, so you can support East Coast Cocoa Beach legend Todd Holland. Um, and then final thought on this is just how messed up the medical system is in America. Not that it's reflected in the Todd Holland story, but I was watching literally this morning. There was a story on the news about a couple who the dude was a self-employed plumber, went to the doctor to get some procedure, and has been getting hit with bills ever since. And the bills, the hospital, there's like now advocacy groups that will help you fight these medical bills because they're, uh, what is the word? Erroneous?
Yeah.
Uh,
No, the
like
hospitals love to do that. Hospitals love to throw bad bills at you and figuring, oh, let's see if they'll pay, right? I think there's no
it
incentive for the
is,
hospital not to do that.
it's a full tactic that is completely implemented and there's zero transparency. So he and his wife are being interviewed and they're like, we've spent hours, probably days on the phone trying to get clarification where there's an itemized bill and it says a certain thing that I don't know what this thing is and I'm being charged $400 for it. The hospital cannot explain to me what this thing is.
Yep.
And there's 20 of them on the bill. They can't explain what any of them are. And
Eh,
the other thing was we were told that the original bill was $100,000. They downgraded it to 58,000 because I'm paying directly rather than going through an insurance company. But these advocacy groups go and they get the alternative bill that the insurance company paid for the exact same procedure. And it turns out they're charging this guy more. They
Yeah.
said we're giving you a discount, we're charging you less. No, your thing, we're charging you $250 for the aspirin. We only charged the insurance company $100 for the aspirin.
It's such a shame. Like people, I mean, I think everybody is outraged to the point of murdering insurance executives and all
True.
that. I
Yeah.
mean, but I think outrage needs to grow even more, not more murders, but like this system is needs to be absolutely junked.
Junked
Yeah, it is
from
awful.
start from scratch.
Exact, rip it all down.
Yeah. So Todd Allen, best of luck, man. Hope that GoFundMe does help support the cause. All right, let's go to commercial break. We'll be back with Barrel or Nah, and then we've got a Patreon episode coming up after that.
Exciting.
All right, Chaz, welcome back to the show.
Great
Um,
day.
Look, Joe from New Jersey reached out and he said, "Hey, DLS and Chaz, just something to chew on. If the grit is Seinfeld, will the surfboard jumper become Mr. Pitt eating the Snickers with a fork and knife of the show? Will we soon see local respected lords of the lineup sitting inside ready to hop up and pump down the line in the same light? Just a thought. Keep work, Joe from New Jersey."
Let's hope.
Redefining what is appropriate in the lineup.
Yeah. I
Well, let's hope.
mean, let's hope.
Let's hope. Then I can reposition through paddling
Yeah.
and get around you. Well, that brings us to our first barrel or not. Eating pizza with a fork and knife. I never would have let this slide stateside, but we just returned from a trip to Italy, and lo and behold, anyone who had a Neapolitan style pizza was eating it with a fork and knife. I thought I was in an alternate universe, and it made me feel like an uncouth American to use my hands.
I'm gonna go barrel on fork and knife for pizza. I'm gonna say for any pizza too. I'm gonna say have at it. I'm gonna say eating pizza with hand is is fine in certain contexts. But I'm gonna say if you're at home, I'm gonna say it's fine in certain contexts and you do you, but it's almost more appropriate to eat it with a fork and knife when you're home, right? If you're out on the streets in New York City with your slice, right? Obviously, you're not gonna eat it with a fork and knife there. But if you're home, why not? It's cleaner. It's probably better. You're not like it's not nearly savage, right?
I
What
don't
foods
like
do you
it.
eat with your hand? You're a hand pizza eater.
I understand this scenario in Italy where you have this Neapolitan style like wood fire ovened pizza where the bottom crust is so thin that you actually can't
You
quite
can't.
get, yeah, you can't get like a stiff, you know, like New York pizza, it's a stiff triangle, so you can just you don't need utensils to eat it.
Okay, I'm with you. I take it
The
back. I
ne-
take it
the
back.
ne-
American pizza, it's silly to eat it any other way than with
yeah,
by
yeah,
hand.
it's meant to be handheld.
Unless
So
there's certain times though where there's so many toppings that are going to drop, the pizza's a bit soggy and there's no way to hold the toppings on while
that's what the
hand eating.
fold is for. That's what you fold it for. So then it has a little bit more shape.
Okay, okay. No
But
barrel then.
The Neapolitan style, like that, in especially the closer you get to the center, it gets much more flaccid and it's difficult. Even if you do bend it, you almost need like a support fork. You bend it, it's flopping down, you get a support fork, and then you can shovel it in your mouth. So the fork and knife makes sense for at least the interior.
Question for you. What do you feel in general about people using forks and knives for non-fork knife things? Like, let's say, sushi, or let's say a Korean barbecue, rice bowl or something. Something where either chopsticks are the go or hands are the go for pizza or the other, like if somebody was eating, for example, a hamburger with a fork and knife, right?
Don't like it at all.
Okay, so what about sushi?
Heck no.
What about a like Asian style rice bowl?
No. So there are, I would make an argument those things all taste better with the proper implement. And a
That's fair.
hamburger tastes better out of your hands. Could you imagine a meat pie and then you just cut it open and start eating it with a fork? No, you have to use
Yeah,
your hand. A taco, you have to use your hand. Pizza, you have to use your hand. It tastes better that way.
you're right. No barrel.
I don't want metal infecting the pizza.
No barrel.
I do understand that example that he's talking about, but even still, when I go to Italy, I'm not I'm going to be the uncouth American. I'm going to use my hands because that's the way it was meant to be.
Better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Barrel or not, using a washcloth. With all this pee-pee talk and related toilet flushing, which appendage talk from months ago, what do you guys feel about washcloths? I stopped using one years ago. I just hold the bar of soap and lather it directly onto my body. The idea of a washcloth scrubbing all my bacteria and then hanging there in the shower until tomorrow to do the exact same task seems slightly unhygienic and counterproductive. I've heard women use loofahs or various other implements, but my same concern applies. I live alone, so no one else will be infected with my soap that's been rubbed onto my nether regions. Work.
Yeah, it's a great one. A great one. Because I am sure that a washcloth or a loofah in that one time, that one fresh time you're using it is beneficial, right? You are exfoliating.
Sure.
So let's say that's better than not. You're getting rid of dead skin, to be frank and crude. Um, the but the problem is, yeah, if you had a fresh washcloth per shower, I'd say that'd be fine, except then that's just weird and
I
that
can't
is
imagine that
you are
some
an
people do that.
OCD level, and so go do your OCD stuff, and that's fine and good. But yeah, I'm gonna say no barrel on the washcloth. We have evolved beyond the washcloth, especially with soaps that have like walnut shells and whatnot in them.
Yeah.
That's
So
what I like.
you don't use a washcloth?
Not at all, ever.
When was the last time you used one?
Uh, I don't know. There's probably a time.
Decades?
I mean, naturally, yes. I'm sure I've used one to like that I got a bunch of sap on me or something like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
and
yeah.
was forced to do it, but never, not naturally for decades.
I haven't even thought about this. Like, I don't use a washcloth either. I don't remember when I stopped using a washcloth, because I did when I was growing up. But yeah, I can't imagine somebody uses a clean washcloth every time. So it's
Definitely.
weird. I guess like if you're taking makeup off or something, then it makes sense that you would use it in that. But in the shower, it seems odd. And definitely for people who are using loofahs or things that you actually like have to invest money into, they're not using a fresh one every time. Those things are sticking around for months, I would imagine.
And that's the loofah is even grosser because at least a
Yeah.
washcloth is like just a rag, essentially. Loofah is all kinds of nooks and crannies for gross things to hide and grow.
And they don't throw that in the washing machine, I'm sure.
No.
Whereas
And
the washcloth you'd throw in eventually after a few days.
what do gross things like more than anything is nooks, dark nooks and crannies. What is
Wet.
all dark, wet nooks and crannies? All a loofah is a dark, wet nook and cranny.
Yeah. And I will say, whatever benefit you're talking about, exfoliation that you get from those implements, I'm doing fine without it. Like I've been using a bar of soap to lather directly onto my skin for decades now. Never once has the doctor said, you got too much dead skin on your body or the dermatologist.
That's very true. Does Lauren use a loofah? Is there a loofah hanging in your shower?
No, I don't know what she's doing in there.
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't know what she's using.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah, no loofah though. Okay, final barrel or nah. Pimping your ride. Coming off of the hot car talk on Patreon and Noble Rot this week, it's a is it barrel to get rims? What about a hydraulic suspension? What about lifting your truck? Certainly tinted windows are okay, but where is the dividing line? Function, barrel, fashion, nah? Certainly you both have thoughts.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on this one. I'm going to go a function barrel, like lifting your truck to go off-roading, barrel, right? Lifting your truck for a flex, no barrel. Getting rims if you're like in a, fancy Porsche or whatever, that getting rims that will make your car go faster, or theoretically, I'm gonna go barrel if that's what you're into, if you're into speed. Getting rims that make people look, no barrel.
I'm going no
And this
barrel
is
across the
aftermarket.
board. Yeah, yeah, aftermarket.
Function
I'm
though, you
going
gotta if you're into going 4x4, you gotta lift your truck.
look, the 1% of the population who's going for buying, absolutely go for it, have a blast. That's not the general pub. Like the vast majority of cars that I've seen with aftermarket whatevers,
Flare.
flare, it's all flare. It's all flare. Nobody's doing anything with it. And at which point it's like, then I would say to this writer, don't stop. Just go ahead and build a pool in the back like they did with like Exhibit did on the show. Like if you're gonna pimp your ride, give me a refrigerator, put the pool in the trunk of the car, like all of it or nothing at all.
I'm gonna say though, for those like the street racer people who are slamming it and getting the, whatever, I'm gonna say you're like you're if you're racing your car, if you're street racing, then have at it. Go aftermarket all day. But I'm gonna say function. I'm gonna stick on the
Okay.
function.
All right. I'm going no barrel, full no barrel. The other thing is you're talking about like if you had a Porsche and you put the rims on it to do whatever, it's like Porsche makes really cool rims now.
Sure.
Like when I was a kid and there was hubcaps on cars, we don't see that really anymore. Cars are fully designed for not only to like the aesthetic that Porsche wants to execute, but also the functionality that Porsche wants to execute. So
I hear you there. Question, I guess, on this related. Uh, where do you go when you buy, or where have you gone when you bought a new car in terms of the upgrades? Like, are you a give me the base model? Are you a, I can't do the base model. I gotta go the one up, or are you a bells and whistles?
I've never bought a car brand new. I've only ever bought used, and I go mid tier. Like
Okay,
the trim package is the mid tier one. I don't want the base one. That fancy one's too much for me. Mid tier is great.
okay, mid
Yeah.
tier.
What about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a real mid-tier guy. Like I think the if you're spending the money, the people who are gonna spend $20,000, say, or $25,000 on a new car, and they're just that th extra 3,000, you're already spending a lot, right? You might as well get at least something in there, that, heated seats or some the better sound system or something in there that you like, right? To go straight up, unless you yourself are aftermarket car person and you're gonna get the base model and then throw in whatever sound system and whatever you want after. But that aside, yeah, like base model is silly. bells and whistles, I guess, if you can afford it, that'd probably be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think my assessment has generally been the bells and whistles are, marginally cooler, but not cooler for an extra
Yeah,
$5,000.
yeah, yeah,
Like
for sure.
the mid tier comes with the leather seats, the heated seats, the whatever, and that's good enough.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To get the Corinthian leather instead, and it's another $5,000. It's like,
yeah,
what? Regular
can't
leather
do
is
it.
good enough for me.
Yep.
Okay, great. Don't pimp your ride as far as I'm concerned. Chaz says only if you're going to use it.
Only use it.
All right. Well, great show as always. Some new territory covered here today. And if you want more, come on, join us on Patreon. It's Patreon Extra Fine Grit. You can just Google it, or you can link from at Surf Splendor or surfsplendorpodcast.com. Also, go get Noble Rot. If you haven't been listening to Noble Rot on Mondays, that is a Chaz produced non-surf podcast.
We got some caller calls to deal with this Monday on Noble Rot, so it'll be fun.
Now I'm opening the listener line, and they're not even about surfing anymore.
Nope.
They're for Noble Rot. So
People have had enough about surfing.
I guess so. All right. Well, Chaz, I will see you over on Patreon. Until next week.
Skateboard.